hello to the pessimistic, optimistic, and everything in between. My name is Connor Philippi, and welcome to the Minnesotan Sports Podcast. This is going to be kind of the shorter video of the three, but it's going to be kind of a breakdown of all these games, and I'm excited to just start this season. I'm just ready for this to get kicked off, and it's going to be so much fun to watch all these teams go at it. So many different storylines. So many different revenge games, teams going to different teams. Russell Wilson's going to be a great story. Baker Mayfield in his first game back is going to be playing against the Browns. A lot of great stories, both for this 1 week and for the entire season. It's all kicking off in probably a few hours from when this gets uploaded, so buckle in, get ready. It's going to be a wild ride of a season, and I'm so excited for it. So let's just kick things off. We're going to go in order of when the games take place. One of the marquee matchups of the first week of the season. It'll probably end up being one of the better games of the whole season, too. We have the Bills at the Rams. Obviously, difficult for the Bills to start off the season technically on the road, even though the Rams don't have as much of a home presence as other teams do. But still, not in their home stadium against the previous Super Bowl winner, the defending Super Bowl winner. It's going to be a tough one. I think that Aaron Donald is going to really get after these Bills O-linemen right away. But if there's any offensive line that can handle Aaron Donald, it's going to be the Bills. They have that solid protection behind Josh Allen, who is going to be playing with even more of a chip on his shoulder after coming up so close last year and losing based off of a coin toss to the Chiefs. So he's going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder, as will the entire Bills team. They're going to come out swinging. So I'm going to go with the Bills on this one. And I also should mention, I'm going to be writing down all of these. This is probably a dangerous thing for me to do, but I'm going to be holding myself accountable and actually writing down every single one. I'm going to have a total tally at the end of the year of ones I got right and wrong, because I'm not going to be like one of those, hypocritical analysts on TV that says, oh, I told you this would happen, when they pick the complete opposite. So I'm going to write it down, hold myself accountable, and look like an idiot the next week and go all over them and go over all of them, and people can laugh at me all they want. But I just want to make sure that people know I'm not going to be hypocritical. That's the one thing I'm not going to be. So the Bills will win this first matchup. Also, I should mention that by about week 3 or 4, it's going to make little sense to do it at the beginning of the season because we don't know these teams quite yet. But after the first few weeks, I'm going to start something that I'm going to call the upset of the week, where I'm going to pick one team that I think might get the upset of the week, and I'm going to see how many of those I can get right throughout the season too. Like I mentioned, it wouldn't make much sense to do it at the beginning of the season because we just don't know what's going to happen yet. There's going to be teams that we predict to be way lower than they should be, and they end up being much better. So I'll wait a few weeks to do that, but just a little bit of a preview for some things in store on the podcast. So the Bills will win week 1. That is going to be the first, hopefully not mistake, but there are going to be plenty of mistakes made. Saints at Falcons. This is a pretty easy one. I said that I thought that the Falcons were going to be one of the worst teams in the league this year. Kyle Pitts is really the only thing they've got going for them. And while I do need to see plenty from Jameis Winston before I start believing in him, I am going to say that the Saints will pick up this win. As much as I hate to say it, I still do have a little bit of hate in my heart for the Saints after everything that happened with them and Bountygate and everything like that. But with Sean Payton being gone, I don't hate him quite as much. Anyway, that being said, next matchup we have the Browns at the Panthers. And this is one that I think the Panthers are going to win. The Browns are going to have to trot out Jacoby Brissett to kick things off, and it's not going to be pretty. Obviously, they still have Myles Garrett. They still have a decent defense, but without any solid starter, I don't see this team going very far. And I think Baker Mayfield, while he isn't necessarily, I feel like there's this weird thing where people are either putting Baker Mayfield as, oh, he's still this amazing quarterback, he's going to take whatever team to the Super Bowl, and then there's a complete opposite side of the coin where people are saying Baker shouldn't have won this starting job, which is also ridiculous. And I'm somewhere in the middle. I think that he's going to be a good quarterback for the Panthers. He's going to definitely improve the quality of this team compared to last year. And I think that he's going to make this team competitive. But I don't think he's going to be anything superstar, spectacular kind of quarterback that people think he might be. That being said, I do think he's going to play with an extra chip on his shoulder in this game. And I think the Panthers will beat the Browns and take this one. And I think it'll be not quite as close as people think. I think that the Panthers are going to run away with this one. The Browns have so much pressure surrounding them this offseason, and I feel bad for the Browns players that have to be in the midst of all this controversy when they had nothing to do with it. But I think that will be a factor in limiting some of these players with that extra pressure on them. It is a big distraction that they're going to have to overcome with all the Deshaun Watson stuff. But I think the Panthers will take this one. 49ers and Bears, this is another pretty easy one because I do have the Bears as a team that might win maybe 3-4 games this year. I really don't have much trust in them at all. Justin Fields is going to have to really play well for them to win more than a few. So 49ers will win this one. Even though I do think that the Bengals are going to have a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover, I do think that they'll beat the Steelers here. I'm going to have to see a good deal from Trubisky, or this defense is going to have to play even more out of their mind than they have in previous seasons if the Steelers are going to be a team that I can get behind. So Bengals, I think, will take this one home. And then Eagles at Lions. I do believe in the Eagles a little more than I've heard some believe in them, but also there's people thinking that the Eagles are going to be one of the better teams in the league. I even saw a post. I'm not sure how accurate this is, but apparently there's like betting odds that came in saying that the Eagles would end up coming out of the NFC. Like they had the highest odds, which I don't really get that either. They will be better than the Lions, though, in this matchup. So I will say that the Eagles will take this one home. And not a whole lot of controversial picks so far. Besides maybe the Bills, maybe some people would have the Rams over the Bills. But it is the first few weeks. You have to take some of the things you've heard over the offseason with a grain of salt. Colts at Texans. I'm going to give this one to the Colts because I do think that the Texans will be the winner, quote-unquote winner, of the number one overall pick in this upcoming draft, which means the Colts should be able to win this one pretty handily. Patriots at Dolphins. This is one that I think that the Dolphins, this is a tough one because I still want to go with a couple of upsets, even though I won't proclaim an upset of the week. I'm going to say the Patriots win this game. And I think that the Dolphins are going to start off slow. I did have the Dolphins ahead of the Patriots at the end of the year in my division predictions. So I do think the Dolphins will be better. But the first week of the season, I think it's going to be one of those situations where Belichick outcoaches McDaniels, and the Dolphins are going to come out sputtering a little bit. The rapport with Tyreek Hill won't quite be there yet. I think Tua is going to make a few too many mistakes in this game, and it'll cost them, the Patriots, just by sheer game management and just genius clock management and the way that Bill Belichick plays every single game as a coach. I think that he's going to get this one done. And everyone's going to think that the Patriots are going to be back, but I don't think they will. I just think they'll get a win in this first week. Ravens over Jets. Do I even need to explain that one? Hopefully 5 Ravens players don't end up getting hurt in the first quarter of that game, but we'll have to see. Jets aren't quite there yet to match up with the Ravens. Jags and Commanders. I'm going to go with the Jags. It happened last year. The Jags ended up overcoming the Colts, and I think the Commanders are an even worse team than the team they had to face last year. I don't believe in this team the way some might. The defense is solid, but I just don't trust Carson Wentz in the slightest, and they really don't have many other options on the offensive side of the ball besides some rookies that could emerge, and maybe I'd bump them up a few points if they do. But I just think the Jaguars are kind of playing with it's kind of one of their first years where they're like, okay, we can kind of establish ourselves. Last year, we knew we weren't going to be doing much. Trevor Lawrence's first year. This is the year that we add some other quality guys on our team. Our young rookies from last year are starting to build up. We got more young talent. We can start to actually make a name for ourselves in the league, and I think that this is going to be a game where they have a little more giddy up and they end up overtaking the Commanders in this one. We have the Titans hosting the Giants, and I think that the Titans should win this one. I'm not going to get crazy here with too many upsets because I do think that the Giants are not quite there either. I think that's a big prove-it year for Daniel Jones. What's wrong with me? It's going to be a big prove-it year for Daniel Jones, and I don't think he's going to quite be able to do it. And I think that he might end up losing his job by the end of the year, but we're going to have to see. Chiefs-Cardinals is a really tough one. This is kind of a toss-up, and there are going to be a lot of better matchups near the end of these predictions. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs in this one. I do think that the Cardinals and Chiefs are going to be on the exact same level this year. I think that the Cardinals are going to be a much better team than people think, but I just think that with DeAndre Hopkins being out the first 6 weeks, the Cardinals are going to have to figure some things out offensively that will work themselves out eventually, I do believe, but this first week might be rough for them. So I'm going to say the Chiefs come out on top of this one. Next, we have the Raiders at the Chargers, which is a game that I am looking forward to so much. That'll be on. Hopefully I can watch that one in the meantime as I stress out watching the Vikings and the Packers. This is going to be a great game, one that I think that the Chargers will win. The Chargers seem to start off every season well, and I think that they're going to have a big game against the Raiders. Justin Herbert he doesn't have a lot to prove, but I think he wants to prove that he is going to be a top 3 quarterback in the league. I think he will be by the end of the year, and this will be the first step in his campaign to proving that. I think that they just have so many offensive and defensive weapons. The Raiders have to establish some things with Davante Adams. Adams might start off a little slow, as big-name wide receivers often do when they go to a new team. I think the Chargers will take this one home. And now we get to the one where, if you watched my first video of the day where I predict the Vikings record all the way through the season, you'll already know what I'm predicting here. But I will say the Vikings win this game against the Packers. I think that they still need some time. The Packers still need some time to establish stuff with their rookie wide receivers and their very rough-looking wide receiver core. The defense is looking solid, but usually offense reigns supreme in these situations, and I don't think the Aaron Rodgers-led offense is quite going to get to that point. Obviously, they could very easily win against the Vikings. I'm not saying that this is something that I'm extremely confident in, but if I had to just out of my gut, and probably a little bit of bias, but I'm trying not to be, I think the Vikings can win this game and should win this game if they play to their highest potential. Finally, we have Sunday Night Football, Buccaneers at Cowboys, and this is going to be a fun one because any game at Jerry World is fun to watch, especially when the Cowboys lose and the crowd gets silenced. I do think the Buccaneers will win this one. I think that Amari Cooper is going to be a big loss for the Cowboys more than they'd think. I do believe in a few other offensive playmakers for this team, but Tom Brady in these primetime games, you just can't bet against it. I know it's just repeating the same thing over and over every year, but there's a reason why we're repeating it, and that's because Tom Brady is Tom Brady, and he has proven people wrong year after year, and I wouldn't worry too much about his off-the-field stuff. I think he's going to be fine. And then finally, a pretty easy one to predict, Broncos-Seahawks. I have the Broncos winning this one. I think that the Seahawks will be one of the league's worst teams. Not to mention, it's a revenge game for Russell Wilson. He is going to put up a clinic against this Seahawks team. So that's going to do it for this one. Again, we have Bills, Saints, Panthers, 49ers, Bengals, Eagles, Colts, Patriots, Ravens, Jaguars, Titans, Chiefs, Chargers, Vikings, Bucks, and Broncos all coming up on top in this first week. and I'll go over every single one. I'm going to completely hold myself to this and probably be embarrassed next week. I'm hoping that my schedule will most likely be, I'm hoping to put out the predictions videos either Thursday or Friday or Saturday, and I'll try and get my prediction to the Thursday night game in whatever video I end up making before that game. And we're just going to have to play that by ear and see how it goes. But for sure, the Sunday games will be predicted before Sunday, hopefully by Friday for sure. And then it'll be either Monday or Tuesday, most likely Tuesday, where I will break down Sunday's games and everything else to do with the world of football. In the meantime, I'll also be coming out with more MLB stuff in the future as it's kind of the home stretch here in September. A lot of exciting things to talk about, but thank you so much for watching this one or listening to this one. And also make sure you follow me on Instagram. It's just the same name, the Minnesotan Sports Podcast. Make sure you follow me on there for more updates on when I'm posting and just some more fun content. And I'll also have the links to my TikTok as well on there too, although I don't do very much on there yet, but I'm hoping to in the future. So thank you all so much, and go Vikings, and I will see you on the flip side.